Chainsaw Man chapter 152 just confirmed for us what we all suspected at the end of the last chapter. The Denji that we've seen in the last two chapters is dead, and the old Denji is back and is more unrestrained than ever before, which means public safety has a problem on their hands now that Denji has apparently finally snapped. However, let's back things up and let's get into the review itself, because boy do we have a lot to talk about. We open up this chapter with Denji fully transformed, and as the people watching are convinced this is another fake Chainsaw Man, the hybrids know they've just woken up the real monster inside of Denji, and they're gonna have to have a real fight on their hands. The only question on their minds is how much of Denji did they just wake up? And as the expression goes, when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. By talking the way that they did and taking away the home that Denji slept in and killing all of his pets, they successfully pushed him back into a corner. And when human beings are put into a position such as this, the fight or the flight instinct kicks in, and for the first time in her life, Nayuta is seeing this side of Denji, and you can tell that she's scared, begging Denji for them to run. And yet, what we see here is that Nayuta's words, they're no longer reaching Denji. He has gone past that point of reasoning now, and he's quickly losing who he was before, and Denji is aware of what is happening to himself. In his internal monologue we have in the manga, he's openly feeling regret and shame for transforming into Chainsaw Man, but not because of the threat that public safety has of killing Nayuta if he disobeys their orders by transforming. But here's the thing, before, if he would have transformed, it would have been some type of a shame, maybe even fear, because of his attachment to Nayuta and the life that he built with her. But these hybrids just stripped away all of that in a huge major way. There is no life to return home to, and you can tell that gutted Denji. Even for as unhappy as he looked living a normal life, they gutted him, and he's hit the reset button and he's defaulted back to Chainsaw Man factory settings, and he's absolutely embracing it. When the hybrids charge forward at him, Denji doesn't hesitate to start fighting back against them, and being the idiots they are, they start to dare him to start using more of his real power against them, and it quickly becomes a game of ask and you shall receive. In a clever and totally unorthodox and totally Denji fashion, Denji twists himself around in order to cut the first hybrid in half, and the people are watching. They're immediately puking at the sight of the carnage that they see. As blood and guts leak out, Nayuta has a shocked look on her face, and you can tell that even before all of this, she never seen Denji in this state before, particularly once he starts eating the first hybrid who he's defeated. When the second hybrid is screaming for him to spit out the first one, Denji basically says it's disrespectful to spit by replying he wants to know if he's being told if he should cook his food a lot more, and Denji starts to hacking away at the body of the second hybrid, who quickly realizes they're outmatched, and they begin calling for Sugo, the sword devil hybrid, to step in. Sugo does put up a good fight against Denji, unleashing a volley of attacks against him, but even after he manages to get Denji on the defensive, he quickly realizes that he's miscalculated, because Denji isn't afraid to take a sword through the chest if it means taking out his enemy, and this leads to Denji making an analogy for a massage that has a reflection of his character, and it's pretty brilliant writing in my opinion, and Fujimoto was self-aware enough of what he was writing to know that he was going to have to use Nayuta as a vehicle to ask the question for the audience, so they would know that this isn't Denji just saying something random. Denji says that with massages, you have to hit that right balance. Too much force and it hurts, and too little and you don't really get any benefits from it. But when you hit the sweet spot where there's just enough pain that actually feels good, you're able to make it a pleasurable experience for the person who is getting the massage. Denji right now is talking about himself. Obviously, the hybrids didn't break out the table for him in order to lay on, and he got a massage and got himself a happy ending finish, but instead, he's referring to the pain that he felt leading up to the moment, and he fully unleashed himself into becoming Chainsaw Man without any type of restrictions. The hybrids and the actions were backing him into a corner and making him uncomfortable with their actions. The fake Chainsaw Man is taking credit for everything that Denji did in the past, was making him uncomfortable because of all the losses he took along the way in becoming Chainsaw Man, from losing power to Aki to fighting Makima to raising Nayuta as his own and dealing with Yoshida and Fumiko in the process, even losing out on Asa Mitaka because of Nayuta's actions when she wiped her memory from their date, where Mitaka thinks that Denji stood her up. Becoming Chainsaw Man has came with a sacrifice, multiple sacrifices, and we're seeing it here. The sacrifice was the normal life that he built. The sacrifice was the pets. The pain that he felt losing it all, it was unbearable, but like a massage, that pain became tolerable, and Denji himself is now feeling like he's got a weight lifted from his shoulders, the way that a good massage lifts the tension from the muscles in your body. With life, when you have certain paths that you take, you can't be caught in the middle of two worlds. You're either all the way in or you ain't in at all. The people who try to have the best of both worlds, they end up stretching themselves too thin and they end up crashing and burning, because where they should be sharper, they're actually dull because they're spread out by trying to have it all. That's where Denji was before all of this. He was trying to be Chainsaw Man and be Denji at the same time, going to school 1 minute and being a devil hunter the next minute. He can't have both. Not like someone like Yoshida, because for as skilled as Yoshida is as a devil hunter, he doesn't have the fame and the status of someone who, like Denji, has as Chainsaw Man. When you taste at that level of clout, it's hard to let go of it, and it becomes a part of who you are to a degree. It becomes part of your personality. Denji knows that by having chosen this side of himself, he's going to have to do the hard thing, and he's going to cut out Nayuta, which is another sacrifice, and it's because of a couple reasons. In his mind, he knows that public safety is gonna target her, and her not being with him might be for the better for her. If for no other reason than he be the focus of public safety and not her. The other thing is that the dark side of Chainsaw Man's story, the people who Denji tends to get most attached to, they end up dying or they end up suffering some type of way. Himeno ended up dying in a heartbreaking way after she got close to Denji. Reze ended up going down the path she did after she got close to Denji. Aki and Power both ended up dying after getting close to Denji. He's truly thinking he's doing Nayuta a solid by telling her not to be around him anymore. And honestly, given all that he's done, he's not necessarily wrong, even if she isn't necessarily going to see it that way. While we don't know where the story will take this in terms of ramifications of Denji transforming into Chainsaw Man, this might be a way to push Nayuta into waiting in the welcome arms of Fami, because Denji might be choosing to go alone, but Nayuta, she will never be alone. She's got an older sister who's been recruiting her for a long time. This feels like it might be another way for Fujimoto to rip the band-aid off and have Nayuta leave Denji in a believable way and have it come back to bite him in the rear, because we saw how just a short amount of time with Fami was able to change Nayuta's line of thinking, where she was openly considering joining the Devils in the upcoming war. This might very well have been a situation where Fami was waiting on this the entire time. And I do think before we close this out, it is important to note that Denji's nature is standing with part of his character. It's part of what makes him able to tap into that heartless, ruthless side that you see with Chainsaw Man, because he has suffered for a majority of the manga. And we're now seeing it come full circle here, where he is becoming the demon that all demons fear, or the devil that all devils fear. And that's actually gonna bring me to my chapter question, you guys. What do you think Nayuta's decision is gonna be now that Denji told her to leave him alone? That being said, I'm curious on what you guys think. Click here to watch these other Chainsaw Man videos you see on the screen right now. And be on the lookout for my Reze video essay that'll be dropping in a few weeks.